York Tawk, episode 163. How you doing? I'm your host, Elyse DeLucci. Welcome to the Upper East Side of Manhattan. Welcome to my kitchen. Fact of the day. Do you know who Janine Phillips is? I'll give you a second. Janine Phillips. No? No, it's not your friend from high school that, got remarried 47 times and you can't remember her maiden name. It's Dear Abby. Dear Abby. Janine Phillips is Pauline Phillips' daughter. Pauline Phillips was the original Dear Abby. Dear Abby, as you know, is a newspaper advice column. It started in 1956. Okay, and Dear Abby, Mom, Pauline, she died in, I think, around 2002. She had Alzheimer's, and she passed the baton to her daughter, Janine. So her daughter is writing the column. And fun fact about Dear Abby, by the way, if you didn't know, at one time, Dear Abby, was syndicated across all the newspapers around the country. It had 100 million readers. 100 million readers. Isn't that fabulous? Anyway, had to take a sip of my seltzer. The reason why I'm telling you is because I was Googling something the other day, and a Dear Abby column came up in a random Detroit newspaper, and I was like, Dear Abby's still around? And then I was like, oh, it's the daughter, and da-da-da. Anyway, I was reading a piece of advice that's totally irrelevant to this podcast and anything, but there was an archive of past posts, and I started looking at them. And one of the posts I want to share with you, because maybe it's related to you, a daughter, a friend. Age-old advice here, by the way. Dear Abby, I've been in a relationship with Ben for 13 years. I've been to his parents' home only twice. I really love him. We never go anywhere, though, or do anything together. He's never given me a gift for any occasion or just because. Material things don't matter to me, but if he thought to get me something, it would make me feel like he cares. Ben is always gone and I'm always alone. He's very selfish. How can I help him understand that I have feelings and I matter as much as he does? That was the question to Dear Abby. Lots of girls want this, right? They have a guy and then the guy's not doing what they want to do and they are upset. Let me share what Dear Abby wrote back to this lady, which, by the way, she calls herself Missing Something in Mississippi, okay? Dear Mrs. Something in Mississippi, people demonstrate their feelings for each other in different ways. From what you have written, it appears that the man you've been spending 13 years with, spends the exact amount of time with you that he wishes, with little to no regard for your needs. You could talk to Ben until the cows come home, but he won't get the message. For your sake, invest no more into this man. Concentrate on finding a partner who is willing to give you what you need. If you do, you'll have a happier life than the one that you're living now. I don't even need to comment. I don't even need to have commentary on her response to Missing Something in Mississippi, okay? Let me tell you something. But of course I am, because we're on a podcast. Men don't change. People don't change, okay? Yes, I completely agree. People show their love in all kinds of ways. We know the love languages, the acts of service, the touch, the verbal stuff, whatever. You met his family 2 times in 13 years. He's never bought you a gift. And, after over a decade, now you want him to try to change. Good luck with that. You know what I would have added to this piece of advice? I would have added, you need to put it up right at the top, right out of the gate. The second you get in a relationship with somebody, let me rewind this. Here is dating advice from Elyse DeLucci. If you want something from a man, if something is important for you, right out of the gate, right when you get together with him, you just don't take no for an answer. It's your non-negotiables. You set your expectations right there. If you do not set your expectations, they're not going to meet them. And by the way, the same goes in reverse, right? If a guy says to you, And if you meet a guy and he says to you, look, when you first meet, every Thursday night I go out with my friends. That's what I do. I've always done it. I'm going to continue to do it while we're dating. And it's going to be like that for the rest of my life. If he says that to you, then that you know. If all of a sudden you're with him for a bunch of years and all of a sudden every Thursday he starts going out, you're going to get a little suspicious, right? You got to manage the expectations right out of the gate. I understand, though, some of the things, she probably thought were going to change. Meeting the family, maybe the family's far, whatever. Everyone has problems in their relationships. Let me tell you something. Everybody thinks also the grass is greener. The grass is greener where you water it. That's my experience in life. The grass is greener where you water it. Ben, if you watered your grass, okay, a little more, took care of your girlfriend, actually opened your ears and listened to her needs, she wouldn't be writing to Dear Abby, okay? It's sad. It is sad. But you know what? Everybody, it's funny. I have a little New Yorker cartoon cut out on my refrigerator. Let me look at it. It makes me laugh. I save a lot of New Yorker cartoons because I love them. It's I'm looking at it right now. It's a girl cat and a boy cat, I think, right? Who knows? Maybe they're two girls, two boys. They're together. And they're sitting on the couch, and they're domesticated cats, and they're watching a television show. And the television show is a wild cat. And the caption of the cartoon says, "You knew I was domesticated when you met me." And that is exactly the point of this column, of this article. Anyway, moving on. Okay. Another piece of advice I kind of need from you guys, although this tends to be a one-way conversation. What are your thoughts on kids' sleepovers, okay? I'm in a little conundrum. So, I'm not a fan. Let me just say, out of the gate, not a fan. Not a huge fan of kids' sleepovers. I don't mind kids sleeping at my house. My daughters have sleepovers all the time. I love to host them. They're adorable, the little girls, it's just me in the house. I never have my boyfriend here when kids sleep over. He doesn't even come and join us for pizza or crafts or anything. It's literally me and all these little kids, and we have fun. The kids, they play. Last time I had a sleepover, we did beading. We went to a Mexican restaurant. I had the house decorated cute. Like I go all out. I'm into it, right? I'm like a girly girl mom. Thank God I have girls. Anyway. But when it comes to my kids sleeping out, not the biggest fan. I mean, unless I really know the parents. I have to know the parents. I have to at least been to their house and have spent, I don't know, at least 3 or 4 hours with the person, So anyway, my daughters, as they're getting older, they're getting invited to sleepover parties. And, usually it's, like a kind of a non-issue. They're in the neighborhood of where we live. And, my kids, they go. And then I say to the mom that, I'm going to pick the girls up at, 8, 9 o'clock. So, my kids have all the fun. They do everything. It's just they don't sleep over, right? And if my daughter said, can we go back in the morning? I would, of course, take them back. My daughters recently got invited to a sleepover party at a grandparent's house that is out of Manhattan. And I, RSVP'd to the party, and I said, okay, that's great. Yeah, I'll pick them up. They'll go, blah, blah, and I'll pick them up. Same thing, 8, 9 o'clock, whatever, looking forward to it. And the mom wrote back, and I really like this lady, but she wrote back and said something like, okay, whatever you want to do. And that's great. I don't know if that's like a genuine whatever you want to do. I don't know if that's a passive aggressive, listen, lady, you never let your kids sleep over, whatever you want to do, I don't know. And that's the problem with text, right? Here's the thing. I don't care. My kids are not sleeping there. It has nothing against the children whose party it is, nothing against the mom, nothing against the grandpa whose house it is. I've never been to this home. I don't know the grandparent. It's just like, no. I called Stephanie and I spoke to Stephanie, my girlfriend, and I said, you know, like, what would you do? And she's like, are you kidding me? She's like, you don't even know who could be there. Neighbors, cousins, like, you know, secret traps in the... I said, I know. I'm just not, like, I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. But sometimes, you know, I need that sanity check with my girlfriends, my girlfriends from home, the girls I've been friends with for 100 years, to be like, no, Elyse, that's right. You're thinking the normal way. Because sometimes the other moms, the city moms, or just whatever, you know, everybody's very different. And I start to think like, maybe I'm the one. Maybe I'm the one with this weird whatever. It's never a bad thing to be too overprotective. It's not like my kids are 14, 15. You know what? They're still little. Besides sleepovers, like, and let me just say something. If I lived in the suburbs and I didn't live in Manhattan, I wouldn't even be probably hosting sleepover parties for my kids. Let me say, part of the reason why I do sleepover parties is because birthday parties is so goddamn expensive. You want to have a birthday party for a kid, it's like $1,000, like, you know, $1,500 in Manhattan. It's outrageous. So a sleepover party, I take the kids for some, you know, quesadillas and chimichangas. We come back, we do beating, and, you know, I have a bunch of balloons. It's cost mommy a fraction of the price, you know? And I'm sure that those mothers think the same thing, but I'm not doing it. Not doing it. I have my reading glasses on my my shirt right now. You can't see them, but they're adorable. They're green, like an emerald green teal sequin cat eye. And this is a new thing, reading glasses. You know, the doctor's like, oh, you're going to have to get progressives. And I'm like, I'm not. They showed me those progressive lenses, and I tried them, you know, in the office, and I felt like I was going to fall over. And he said, you don't have to have them now. He said, but you're going to wind up wearing progressives when you get desperate, when you get very desperate, when it gets so bad, you're going to come back and say, oh my God, I'll take them. I'm not at that point yet, but I know I'm getting there, because right now in front of me, I have my reading glasses, I have my regular prescription eyeglasses, I have my contacts in, I have prescription sunglasses also on the table. I mean, it's a freaking shanda. Like, I'm 40 years old. What's going on with my eyes? Like, one day you wake up and you just can't see anymore, you know? Shout out to my eye doctor, Studio Optics in Rockefeller Center, Mitch Cassell. Love this guy. He does all of the eye stuff, all the eye care for the stars. He does, you know, 30 Rocks, and it's in 30 Rock, NBC's in the building. And, yeah, he travels with some, you know, big people when they're on movies, because, you know, some of the actors he told me, he gave me the whole spiel. He said, Elyse, some of these actors, he said, they're in parts. They need to have special things with their eyes. You know, they need special contacts, special lenses, eye effects, special effects for the eyes. I said, who knew that was a thing? Dr. Cassell. Anyway, I love this place. I love it. I've been going there and for a long, long time. And they always have fabulous glasses. But no, I'm not doing progressives. I'm not at that point yet. I might be there next month, though. Just saying. Japanese rice, you know, I'm in my Japanese phase. It's going. You know, last week I told you about the tamagoyaki Japanese omelet I have been making. I'm now into the rice and what I could do with rice. And you know, the Japanese rice is totally different than regular rice. I know, you're like, here we go. No, it's here's the thing. Japanese rice, it's called Japonica rice. It's a short grain rice, whereas our rice is medium grain, long grain, jasmine, basmati, whatever. It's short grain, it's plumper, it's a tiny bit sweeter, but more importantly, it's sticky. So if you want to make you know, sushi, or you want to make a rice ball, which they call it onigiri or something, again, butchering the name, you need that sticky rice to hold the rice together. That rice, the Japanese rice, it's higher in starch content. So it's ideal for this like tight roll making and all of this kind of stuff. But I'm liking it. I have the little rice maker. It's great. I have my rice bowls, my chopsticks. You know, Chris is like, do you really need to eat with chopsticks like every day? And I'm like, yeah, like, why do you care? I'm eating with wooden sticks. I like it. One, I feel primitive. Two, I feel very international. It's what the phase I'm in right now. Leave me alone. See, that's the thing, by the by. Since I really got to know this guy, you know, years ago, and since he really got to know me, I didn't hide who I was. I'm right out of the gate. I'm an international lady. You know, I go through international food phases, and he accepts that. Can you imagine if I was just eating Italian food or just hot dogs and hams and hots, like for the last, you know, few years, and then one day I just, you know, appear, you know, in a kimono and slippers, and I'm like, I'm only eating. He would be like, she needs to go to the psych ward. On the psych ward note, I have this book in front of me. It's called On Mental Illness, because aren't we all a bit, you know, ill sometimes throughout our life? But no, I had talked about this series of books before, The School of Life. You have to check it out. Just like Google, they must have a website. Hold on, let me look in the book. Yes, theschooloflife.com. It's just like this. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's a nonprofit organization. It's just an organization in the world. I think they're British based, you know, I think they're based in the UK. They're just an organization that just puts out really interesting books about social issues, emotional issues, mental issues, just things you should read. You know, it is not fiction stories like the Steinbeck's The Pearl I was talking about. It's not these you know, terrible self-help books that just bang on. It's almost like they're almost like guides, but they're beautifully written, and they're easy to digest, and they make you feel like you're not alone. Again, I for some reason I have this theme in my head of like not like alone and not being alone and blah blah blah. Anyway, I got back from Amish country, BT dubs, had an amazing time. Took my daughters totally on a whim, you know, and I took them to Amish country in Lancaster, Pennsylvania. I've always loved Pennsylvania. Shout out to any of my PA listeners. My father had a hunting lodge in Pennsylvania. And of course, like most people in the tri-state area growing up, we went on vacation to Amish country, and, you know, we do all those, you know, kind of vacations. Remember like going to like Colonial Williamsburg and all that. But there's a real special place in my heart for PA. And, we stayed at this great hotel. It's called Eden Resorts. So here's the deal with the hotel. If you want to go, this is where I took my daughters. I've been before. I went back in the day with the Tooth and the kids when they were babies and friends. I think it's owned by a Best Western. It's nothing fancy, but here's what I like about the hotel. It's a big hotel, meaning that like it's not some like roadside dump. They have a really nice pool, in-ground pool. They have a kids' little water area. They have little tiny mini golf, tiny, not like proper mini golf, but they have little tiny mini golf holes on the property. They have a nice restaurant that does a buffet breakfast. So easy for the kids. It's such a kid-friendly hotel. And the best part is it's a few minutes down the road from Dutch Wonderland. It's an hour and 40 minutes away from Hershey Park, which is where we went. And it's 10, 15 minutes from Amish country. So that's where we stay. It's also a lot of New York people. You can always tell, you know, when you're at a hotel. You can always tell when New Yorkers are on the premises. When all of a sudden you put your fork down and you hear from behind, "Hey, Anthony, you finish your coffee?" Like I was literally having breakfast with the kids, and that's what I heard. And no, it was more like, Anthony, you finish your coffee? And I turned around, and it was two red-haired old ladies and their two older husbands talking about finishing their breakfast and then getting on the road because one of them had a hair appointment on Highland Boulevard in Staten Island. And I thought, you know what? I'm at the right hotel. Now, I'm not one of these people that always need to stay at the hotels where the New Yorkers are. I'm not like that. But in a situation like this, Amish country, it's good. It makes it easier. But no, it's a great place. We went to this wonderful farm called Old Windmill Farm, where you can feed all the baby animals and hold them. And we went to the Amish restaurants, and I came home with COVID, so that's been fun. But totally great place, worthwhile visiting. I love Pennsylvania Dutch. I don't know. I just love it. I love it. I love it's not that far. It's great. Great. Okay. Product of the day is my new Japanese rice cooker by Toshiba. Okay. If you wanted to find the one that I have, it's not huge. It's called Toshiba rice cooker, small 3-cup uncooked rice cooker with fuzzy logic technology. Don't ask what that means. I have no freaking idea, okay? I don't even know who names these products, these maniacs, and by maniacs, I don't mean the country and the people, the Japanese people. I mean people that name products in general. They are so obscure. Fuzzy logic, anyway. And I'm sure somebody's gonna be like, that's actually some very fancy term in the technology world. Anyway, moving on. Okay. What I love about this rice cooker that I bought, it is only 3 cups because it's not a ton of people in my house. As you know, I don't have a ton of counter space. It's really small and compact. My kitchen's white and black and gold. So I have the white. I got it in white. It has a little handle. You plug it in. It comes with a little rice cup thing. You measure the water with the rice cup. You measure the rice with the rice cup. It's a beauty. It was $89, worth the expense. Now, Tooth tells me he listens to the podcast. So annoying, Paul. Why are you monitoring me? But anyway, if Tooth hears this, he'll be like, oh, look, she's going through one of her phases, kind of like when she was in her bread phase and her bread machine phase. It's like, no, I have an archive of appliances in the pantry and hidden in the cabinets in my kitchen. And I just like to know that I have them and I am able to access them. I do not have to justify my rice cooker and any of this stuff to anybody. But that is what I bought, and I can't wait to be using this for years to come. You're welcome. Okay? Quote of the day by Shirley Chisholm is 2 most amazing quotes that I love. The first one is, let me say this. If you don't know who Shirley Chisholm is, she's a Brooklyn girl, okay? Brooklyn girl. Brooklyn born. And, really, this could be a New York fact of the day as well. Shirley Chisholm, Brooklyn born, Brooklyn girl, Brooklyn born in 1924. She was so many things. She was a teacher. She was an author. She was a congresswoman. And probably her most impressive credential in 1972, she was the first Black candidate to run for President of the United States. The first Black major party candidate to run for president for the United States in 1972. Is that not mind-blowing? That's mind-blowing, right? That is. And so anyway, Shirley has 2 quotes that I absolutely love. And the first one is, if they don't give you a seat at the table, bring a folding chair. That's right, Shirley, okay? The second quote that I love that she says is, we must reject not only the stereotypes that others hold of us, but also the stereotypes that we hold of ourselves. Because we do that, right? We label ourselves subconsciously. We tell ourselves we're certain things or we can't do certain things. Once you rid your mind of that, everything is possible. And that is it. that is it for today's New York Talk episode 163. I'm your host, Elyse DeLucci. Thank you always for listening. Drop a review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. You know how much I appreciate that. Thanks again. Love to love you, baby.